What the heck is a kilometer? Yes, the United States of America will have another F1 team. Of course, yes, we do have Haas, but this is very, very different. General Motors, who of course owns Cadillac, they make Cadillacs here in the United States of America. They've been approved by Formula One to be an 11th team on the grid starting in 2026. Massive Formula One news here today. The escalation of the news has really picked up in the last week or so. Of course, we were just in Las Vegas this past weekend for the third race in the United States of America in 2024. And it was when the reports came out during this past race weekend, when it was here in the U.S., that Andretti, who had applied to F1, they were approved by the FIA, but they were denied by Formula One, changed up the ownership group, changed up the leadership group, Michael Andretti out, and then they kind of reapplied in a sense as General Motors. It was more of a GM Cadillac push. And now an 11th team has been approved, and it's going to be a GM Cadillac entry. We have some details. We have Formula One's quotes on it. We have some Cadillac quotes on it, including a quote from Michael Andretti. So let's look into some of the details. Formula One announced today that it has reached an agreement in principle with GM to support bringing GM/Cadillac as the 11th team to the Formula One grid in 2026. Formula One has maintained a dialogue with General Motors and its partners at TWG Global regarding the viability of an entry following the commercial assessment and decision made by Formula One in January of 2024. Over the course of this year, they have achieved operational milestones and made clear their commitment to brand the 11th team GM/Cadillac, and that GM will enter as an engine supplier at a later time. Formula One is therefore pleased to move forward with this application process and will provide further updates in due course. Then from Greg Maffei, apologies for the incorrect pronunciation, President and CEO of Liberty Media. With Formula One's continued growth plans in the United States, we have always believed that welcoming an impressive U.S. brand like GM or Cadillac to the grid, and GM as a future power unit supplier, could bring additional value and interest to the sport. We credit the leadership of General Motors and their partners with significant progress in their readiness to enter Formula One. We are excited to move forward with the application process for the GM/Cadillac team to enter the championship in 2026. And then Stefano Domenicali said, General Motors and Cadillac's commitment to this project is an important and positive demonstration of the evolution of our sport. We look forward to seeing the progress and growth of this application, certain of the full collaboration and support of all the parties involved. And then Mohammed bin Sulayem, president of the FIA, said General Motors is a huge global brand and powerhouse in the OEM world and is working with impressive partners. I am fully supportive of the efforts made by the FIA, Formula One, GM, and the team to maintain a dialogue and work towards this outcome of an agreement in principle to progress this application to bring a GM/Cadillac branded team on the grid for the 2026 F1 World Championship. All parties, including the FIA, will continue to work together to ensure the process progresses smoothly. Mark Royce, the president of GM, said, as the pinnacle of motorsports, F1 demands boundary-pushing innovation and excellence. It is an honor for General Motors and Cadillac to join the world's premier racing series, and we're committed to competing with passion and integrity to elevate the sport for race fans around the world. This is a global stage for us to demonstrate GM's engineering expertise and technology leadership at an entirely new level. And then Dan Tauris, who is actually, he's a part of Andretti. I think he's like he took over from Michael Andretti, but he's also the CEO of TWG Global's motorsport business. We're excited to partner with GM in bringing a dynamic presence to Formula One. Together, we're assembling a world-class team that will embody American innovation and deliver unforgettable moments to race fans around the world. We appreciate the FIA and FOMs, which I guess that's Formula One Media, I want to say, support of our application and their recognition of the value we can bring to the championship. And then Michael Andretti said, the Cadillac F1 team is made up of a strong group of people that have worked tirelessly to build an American works team. I'm very proud of the hard work they have put in and congratulate all involved on this monumentous next step. I will be cheering for you. Now this is a huge deal. It cannot be understated how big of a deal this is. Now Mario Andretti is going to be involved, not Michael. Michael is Mario's son. Mario, I just confused myself. He will be on the board of directors, I believe, or he will be director of the board in regards to this team. Of course, as I said, to quickly recap this up again, Andretti made a push to get into Formula One, to have a Formula One team. They paid an entry fee or an application fee. They tried to show how serious they were. They were building a headquarters in Silverstone, England. They were going to build power units with a connection, with a partnership with General Motors, with Cadillac, and they would provide power units, and that would be built here in the United States. And their base is in Indianapolis, where their IndyCar team is. But they had this big, strung out, detailed, thought out plan, but F1 said no. FIA said yes, F1 said no. Then there's some leadership switch up, and Michael Andretti's not the leader at Andretti anymore. Now this application is more focused on GM, on Cadillac. Now it has been approved. And here's why it's a big deal, is because, one, expanding the grid, I think, is a positive. If it was an unserious team, if it was like me coming up, I win the lottery and I spend the $500 million or whatever, I spend it on an F1 team, it'd probably be pretty unserious because I don't know what I'm doing. But when you have the backing of a manufacturer, when you have a manufacturer who's willing to commit to building engines, power units, engineers, supplies, aerodynamics, anything in that matter, it's a big deal. And Formula One is about to have a wide range of engine suppliers, of manufacturers involved in the sport. I mean, think about this. We're about to lose Alpine, Renault engines. We're about to lose that, but Mercedes, a global brand. Ferrari, global brand. Ford is about to join Red Bull, global brand. GM, global brand. Honda is going to be with Aston Martin, global brand. Toyota, they're technically involved with Haas, global brand. Think about it. Yes, not every single one of those are providing power units or engines, but they are all somehow technically involved, and not technically as in a technicality. I mean, literally, when it comes to technical building of cars and research and data, those are all big name manufacturers involved in Formula One. Expanding the grid has been something that's been possible. And once again, it all came down to if there was a serious enough entry for it to happen. And the United States itself has been pushing for Formula One more. There has been a spike in interest in Formula One. Obviously, went from 1 race to 3 races in the span of just a couple of years, and we hit Austin, Vegas, and Miami now. We've had an F1 team since 2015? 2016 with Haas. It's been sparse in terms of the number of drivers. We had Logan Sargent most recently, but not a lot of successful drivers. So the American power, or the power of F1 in America, has been pretty weak. But then ever since Liberty Media took it over, it's been a strong push here in the United States. The fan engagement, the fan growth here has spiked. Now we have a full-blown engine manufacturer, OEM. We have a full-blown works team that's going to be a Formula One team. Cadillac. It's one of the biggest brands, if not the biggest brand here in the U.S. when it comes to car manufacturers. It's either Ford, I guess, or GM. And GM, they got Chevy, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. I mean, General Motors, they produce a lot of cars here in the United States. But from a Formula One perspective, it's a really big deal. And I know some team principals have been down on expanding the grid because they don't get as much money. And all right, sorry, Mercedes. Yeah, you guys don't have enough money. So tough on you. This is a big deal. This is, the short-term impact. Sure, you may lose a little bit money because they got to spread out. They got to distribute a little bit more money to an 11th team. But think about the long-term growth of this. Think about gaining fans out of this, selling more tickets, selling more merchandise. And also think about, what if this Cadillac entry, maybe it's a rough start, maybe they have some growing pains, but what if down the road they become a serious team? They become a serious threat to win. All of a sudden, you're going to get more eyeballs. You're going to have Cadillac versus Mercedes versus Ferrari. I mean, that's God almighty. You got a German-based, or a German engine build, an Italian engine build, and an American engine build all fighting each other. And that's not even including, Honda or, possibilities are endless here. So, in conclusion, this is a really big deal for Formula One to finally expand to an 11th team. I can't remember the last time we had 11 teams. It's been 10 years, I want to say. Maybe it was a little bit shorter than that, but it's been a while. So to expand back to 11 teams, we're going to have 22 cars on the grid. And also another thing is more drivers in the sport. We look at the tight 20-car range, and yes, adding 2 is a small percentage, but when someone's right there on the border, they can't find a seat. Well, now there's 2 extra seats. And then that's the next question. Who's going to drive for this Cadillac team? Are they going to put an American driver in there, an American product? Or are they going to look elsewhere? But Andretti is somehow kind of still part of this because, they kind of built the foundation for it. But Cadillac, General Motors, they will be in Formula One starting in 2026. A very big deal for F1, a big deal for GM, big deal for the United States of America. Once again, apologies for cursing. What the heck is a kilometer? So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Any other motorsport news, I will do my best to get it to you in a timely manner. It is a very rare occasion. It's only 1 p.m. and we got Formula One news. It's a very rare occasion here in the States. Usually all this is happening at like 3 a.m.